Hey, what's going on? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. Thank you for stopping by the State of the NFL podcast. I ask that you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This is a channel where we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of the NFL. Hey, what's going on, sports fans? My name is TJ Jones. Welcome to another edition of the State of the NFL podcast. It's where we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of the National Football League. And just like always, before we get started, I ask that you hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel to grow, and I would really appreciate that. On this edition, we're going to be talking about rookie quarterbacks. A lot of rookie quarterbacks made their NFL debuts over the weekend, and many of them impressed. And, you know, when you think about a new quarterback, right, especially those that are going to be considered future franchise quarterbacks, you know, there's a lot of expectations surrounding those players, right? It's a lot of nerve. I'm sure everybody is counting on you to change the misfortunes of your franchise, or if you are a successful franchise, continuing to carry the banner of success for your team. And I have to say, I watched quite a few rookie quarterbacks in preseason game number one, and I left very impressed at the poise and how most of them didn't even look like rookies. It seemed like the moment wasn't too big for them, and you have to be impressed by that. Now, I have to honestly say, I feel the reason why we're actually experiencing more confidence at the quarterback position, guys coming from the collegiate level to the professional level, I think it has a lot to do with the fact of college football being so mainstream, being so big time. We know like a lot of these quarterbacks have played in some big time games, been a part of some big time moments, and they have always kind of been under the microscope throughout their collegiate career, more so than ever, combined with, the multi-billion-dollar TV deals from the NIL, et cetera, et cetera. These guys are always in the limelight. So in that regard, I feel like it kind of helped them to be able to deal with the pressures of high stakes situations. Now look around the National Football League. We got to start with Cam Ward. Cam Ward, to me, this guy is the least talked about number one overall pick I think I've seen in a very long time. It seems like everybody at the quarterback position that was drafted after him gets talked about more than he is. But if you follow Cam Ward, it is easy to see that the Tennessee Titans have themselves an alpha at the quarterback position. This man is a leader. He eats, sleeps, and breathes football, and he's always trying to get better. And if you follow his story from the collegiate ranks, not being a high-profile high school player coming into college, you know, he earned it, you know, by working hard, dedicating himself to his craft, and he became the number one overall pick. I feel like Cam Ward's story, it should be a docuseries or a biopic one day. This guy really rose from the ashes and earned everything that he had. But he had an opportunity to play over the weekend, week one of a preseason game. And I got to say, I left the game very, very impressed by Cam Ward. Now, I started off with him, you know, throwing a few incompletions. That could have easily discouraged the young quarterback, but it didn't. He was able to go out on the next drive and facilitate an 11-play drive. He caught Calvin Ridley a couple of times down the field on some big chunk plays. And, you know, Tony Pollard ended up running it in for a touchdown. So, to me, I think that he had a really good series. He showed really good poise in the pocket, really good footwork, very confident guy. And even though it wasn't perfect, he showed that, you know, there is something there. Now, head coach of the Tennessee Titans, Brian Callahan, still feels like he has some things he needs to work on. I'm talking Cam Ward. And Cam Ward understands that. This is a guy that always is trying to get better. But I think the Tennessee Titans definitely have a find in Cam Ward. And he got to be able to build on some of the things that he did in his very first preseason game. Next quarterback is Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, you think about him going to New York, and we know that the New York fan base, they can be a tad bit tough. And sometimes they can be a little bit impatient, but justifiably so, because since Eli Manning has retired, the Giants have been looking for a quarterback that can stabilize their offense. Somebody that can come in, that can put points on the board, that can make really good decisions and not turn the ball over and fumble all over themselves. And it looks like Jackson Dart could be that guy. He completed 12 passes out of 19. He had a really good touchdown pass to Lil Jordan Humphreys. I mean, an absolute dime. But everybody knows about the skill set and ability of Jackson Dart. There was a reason why he was drafted in the first round. There was a reason why the Giants decided to move back into the first round to get him. And you have to believe that Brian Daboll really needs a young quarterback like Jackson Dart to work out, because we know that he, along with the general manager of the Giants, are on the hot seat. I mean, they have to be able to perform. The New York fan base is looking for a champion. They're looking for a coach that is going to help them be a force in the NFC East. And if you look around the East, you're looking at the Commanders with Jaden Daniels. It seems like they got their quarterback. Dak Prescott was injured last season. I expect for the Cowboys to look a little bit better than they did, than they did last season. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles, who won the freaking Super Bowl. So the Giants are kind of like the odd team out of this equation, and they're trying to find themselves back into the conversation. Now, Russell Wilson, to me, he'll be able to hold down the fort, be that bridge quarterback that they need until Jackson Dart is able to handle the reign. But you have to believe that Jackson Dart is going to be a really solid quarterback for the Giants. I mean, not only was he able to throw the ball and move around in the pocket, he was also able to scramble. He had some really good scrambles in the game. So, like I said, these young quarterbacks are coming into the league really confident. And speaking of confidence, you got to look at Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, a lot of pressure on him. The Cleveland Browns, they appointed him the fourth string quarterback on their depth chart, which is absolutely insane when you think about it. And it was even more insane that after a stellar performance, after a performance that a lot of people did not expect from Shedeur Sanders, now you have some, and I'm going to call them out, that are moving the goalposts, that are now just minimizing what he did and saying, oh, it's preseason. But I guarantee you, if he would have fell flat on his face in that preseason game, then everybody would have been talking about how he doesn't belong. But Shedeur Sanders showed that he belongs in the National Football League. And he had 2 touchdowns. He had really good pocket awareness. He really just had a poise, a disposition that you would see from veteran quarterbacks. And, he was able to deliver the ball down the field. He was able to facilitate 3 scoring drives, which was extremely impressive. So I don't know what the Cleveland Browns are thinking about. They're trying to make Kenny Pickett work. They're trying to make Dylan Gabriel work. They're trying to recreate 2012 with Joe Flacco. But you have a star in Shedeur Sanders. And from what I'm hearing, his performance didn't change the way that they looked at him. I don't know if the Cleveland Browns are just trying to play hardball, or just the fact that they just want to maybe humble Shedeur Sanders. But I just think that he is who he is. And if the Cleveland Browns want to get out of this misery that they have been in at the quarterback position, I mean, my goodness, it just seems like they just can't find their franchise guy. You have one staring you in the face, and you're acting like you got Peyton Manning and Tom Brady on your depth chart, which you do not. But a very impressive performance by Shedeur Sanders. Jalen Milroe had a really good performance. He was able to scramble. He was able to deliver the ball. I expect for Jalen Milroe to end up being the starting quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. Nothing against Sam Darnold, nothing against him. I think that he did a really good job last season with the Minnesota Vikings. And yes, I do feel like organizations really ruin quarterbacks. They ruin their confidence, and they also ruin the way that individuals may think about a quarterback. I think that if you're an organization picking in the top 5 all the time, I think it's insane that individuals don't look at the organization and realize that they ruin players. But Sam Darnold was able to go with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. He was able to play. He led the Minnesota Vikings. They had double-digit wins last season, and he got himself paid in Seattle. But I do feel like Jalen Milroe has some raw talent. It is something that he has to tap into and know he is not ready. But if everything comes together for him, if Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, can get the best out of Jalen Milroe, if they can work with him to a point where he can actually tap into that potential, I just think that it's a matter of time before he becomes a starter over Sam Darnold. I think that Sam Darnold can be a good, solid quarterback for you, but I just think that, it's only so far you're going to go with a quarterback like Sam Darnold. I think that Jalen Milroe can get you over that hump. He's a smart guy. He's talented. He's super athletic. And I think that he can be what the doctor ordered for the Seattle Seahawks. And also New Orleans Saints rookie quarterback Tyler Shough. He made his debut versus the Los Angeles Chargers. And, he's in a quarterback competition with quarterback Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler started in 6 games last season, and, he didn't win any games. A lot of people feel like Spencer Rattler got the short end of the stick. When he was out there starting, they had a bunch of backups because the Saints were decimated with injuries. And he had to go out there and throw the ball to undrafted guys and individuals that weren't even on the team at the beginning of the season. And now he's competing with a young Tyler Shough. Well, not so young Tyler Shough. He's 25. He'll be 26 at the start of the season. But Tyler Shough came in, and you have to believe that the pressure was on, because a lot of fans, especially Saints fans, they thought the New Orleans Saints were going to draft Shedeur Sanders. They were anticipating the Saints drafting Sanders, and the fact that Shedeur Sanders had the performance he had before Tyler Shough played, everybody was paying attention to see what Tyler Shough was going to do. He came in late in the second quarter. He was able to facilitate a 2-minute drill. He got the ball down the field. That was great. Then the start of the third quarter, he got the ball and he ended up throwing a pick six, staring down his wide receiver. That's just not a good look. All right. You can't stare down your wide receiver. This is in college. All right. You probably can get away with that at Louisville, but in the NFL, they're going to hit their head on a goalpost, which we seen the cornerback for the Chargers do. But credit to Tyler Shough. He shook it off. Next drive, he comes out, throws a 54-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Mason Tipton. And, everybody is starting to slowly come around on Tyler Shough. He was able to move around in the pocket a little bit. He was able to, extend plays. After that interception, it seemed like he got himself a little bit more comfortable. And, you even have some Saints fans feeling like, well, man, maybe I need to give this guy a chance. Tyler Shough is going to be one of those quarterbacks that's probably going to be going through the ups and downs of being a young quarterback, but there is something there. And new head coach Kellen Moore feels that way. And he also talked about how he wants these quarterbacks to go out there, take risks, make mistakes during his preseason process, and let the chip fall where they may. They evaluated according to how they respond. Tyler Shough responded really, really well, and I think that it will pay dividends for him. I don't know if he was going to start the next game versus Jacksonville. Maybe they thought Spencer Rattler would be the starter because he was playing so well in training camp. But after the performance of Tyler Shough, you have to believe that the Saints have to look at Tyler Shough and maybe think about starting him game number 2 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in the Superdome. But shouts out to all the young quarterbacks making their NFL debuts. Some had some highs, some had some lows, but it's very, very early in this process. All of these quarterbacks have an opportunity to become successful. It's all a matter of what you're going to do with those opportunities.